Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing a speed test between the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 from 2018 and the iPhone 11 Pro Max from 2019. Both these phones were launched 1 year apart. The Galaxy Note 9 was actually launched 1 year earlier compared to the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Today we are going to compare both of these phones and we are going to look whether there is any difference between speed between both these devices. Let's get started with a boot up comparison in 3, 2, 1. The Samsung Galaxy logo appears earlier compared to the 11 Pro Max. Let's see who boots up faster. The Samsung Galaxy Note 9 actually comes with an LED notification light also, and that was actually very close. They booted up similar. As you can see, there was a little bit lag on the Galaxy device. The boot up was similar on both the devices. They started equally, and you can see the difference in bezels on both these devices. The Note 9 actually comes with an curved display which actually looks futuristic in 2023 also, whereas the Apple 11 Pro Max comes with a bigger notch. It comes with pretty thin bezels all around. Let me unlock all these devices and we'll start. Let's get started with the speed test. Both the phones are connected to the same wireless networks, as you can see, and everything is closed up in the background. Let's start with phone dialer. That was faster on the 11 Pro Max. Now let's move on to clock. That was again slightly faster on the 11 Pro Max. Now let's move on to camera. That was about the same on both the devices. Let's move on to calculator. That was slightly faster on the right, and you can actually see the difference between animations on both the devices. On 11 Pro Max, though it is a 60Hz display only, then also it is slightly smoother than the Galaxy Note 9. Now let's move on to calendar. That was again slightly faster on the right. Now let's move on to Amazon. That was again faster on the right. Now let's move on to Google Maps. That was again faster on the 11 Pro Max. Now let's move on to YouTube. That was faster on the Galaxy Note 9. Now let's move on to Play Store App Store. That was about the same on both the devices. Now let's move on to Microsoft Word. That was slightly faster on the 11 Pro Max. Now let's move on to My Files. That was about the same on both the devices. Now let's move on to Google Chrome. That was again faster on the 11 Pro Max. Now we'll just search for apple.com. Let's hit the first link. That was about the same on both the devices. I guess the Note 9 loaded the page first, but it was about the same. Do let me know what you feel in the comment section down below. Now let's move on to my Geo app. That was faster on the 11 Pro Max. And now it has completed loading on Note 9. Now let's move on to some basic games, starting with Subway Surfers. That was as expected faster on the 11 Pro Max, and if you play some light games, they will be actually similar on both these devices. But if you play higher end games like PUBG or Call of Duty, etc., the 11 Pro Max will actually perform slightly better compared to Galaxy Note 9. And actually, both of these devices are getting warm on backside, but the Note 9 feels slightly more warmer to touch compared to 11 Pro Max. That is actually expected on both these devices as these chips are actually getting older, but the Note 9 gets warm slightly faster as compared to the 11 Pro Max. So that is one thing to consider if you are buying these devices in 2023. Now let's move out of Subway Surfers. As you can see, there was slightly lag on the Galaxy Note 9. Now let's move on to Temple Run. That was again faster on the 11 Pro Max. As you can see, let's hit play. Now let's move on to Bing. That was again faster on the 11 Pro Max. As you can see, some weird things are happening. Now let's move on to weather. As you can see, there was slightly lag on Note 9, but then also it loaded up slightly faster as compared to 11 Pro Max. Let's get out of that. Now let's move on to speed test. That was slightly faster on the 11 Pro Max. So if you compare the performance on both these devices, the 11 Pro Max will be slightly faster as compared to Galaxy Note 9, and the 11 Pro Max will actually get further software updates, and I feel it can easily get up to at least 2 more years of software updates, while the Galaxy Note 9 has not received any software update and it is still running on Android 10. So that is the difference that you should keep in mind if you are buying these devices. Now let's move on to RAM management. So the Galaxy Note 9 actually comes with 6 GB of RAM, while the 11 Pro Max comes with 4 GB of RAM. So let's see which devices perform better when it comes to RAM management. So let's start with phone dialer. That was in memory on both the devices. Let's move on to clock. That was refreshed on Galaxy Note 9. Camera, that was there on 11 Pro Max, and you can see slight lag on the Note 9. Now let's move on to settings. That was refreshed by both the devices. To calculator, that was refreshed on Galaxy Note 9. Let's move on to calendar. That was refreshed on both the devices. Move on to Amazon. That was in memory on 11 Pro Max and refreshed on the Galaxy Note 9. On to Google Maps. That was there in memory on iPhone 11 Pro Max and it was refreshed on Note 9. And there is also slightly lag, as you can see. Move on to YouTube. That was again refreshed by Galaxy Note 9. Move on to Play Store App Store. That was, I guess, refreshed on both the devices. Let's move on to Microsoft Word. That was kept in memory by iPhone 11 Pro Max. Move on to Files. Again, same case, it was refreshed on Galaxy. Let's move on to Chrome. That was again refreshed on Galaxy Note 9. Move on to My Geo. That was again refreshed on Galaxy Note 9. Let's move on to Subway Surfers. That was again refreshed by Galaxy Note 9. Let's move on to Temple Run. That was again refreshed on Galaxy Note 9. Move on to Bing. that was again refreshed on Galaxy Note 9. So as you can see, there are many refreshes on Samsung Galaxy Note 9 compared to 11 Pro Max, which actually has many applications kept in the background. Again, you can see the same case. And our last application, Speedtest, that was again refreshed on Galaxy Note 9. So as you can see, that was the RAM management between both these devices. And the iPhone 11 Pro Max, though it has 2 GB less RAM as compared to the Galaxy Note 9, then also it actually kept almost all the applications in the background, while the Galaxy Note 9, I guess it kept only one or two apps in the background. So that was the RAM management on both these devices. Now let's look at the Geekbench score on both the devices, and you can actually see wide gap of scores between both of the devices. The single core score on the 11 Pro Max is actually the multi-core score on the Galaxy Note 9. It is actually a very surprising thing to note. The single core score on 11 Pro Max is actually 3 times higher than that of Note 9. But practically, the app opening tests were almost similar on both the devices. The difference came when we moved on to the RAM management part, where the iPhone was in all the apps in the memory, while the Note 9 was not able to do so. So that was the speed test between both these devices, and do let me know in the comment section down below what next comparison you want to see. Thank you.